Have you ever found yourself wondering where all the energy went? One minute you're full of drive, and the next, it feels like life has shifted gears without asking you first. You stand at the window, coffee in hand, watching the world move outside and think, is this how it's supposed to feel after 60? A little slower, a little quieter, maybe even a little lonelier? But here's something I want you to hear. Just because the number has changed doesn't mean your story is finished. In fact, what you do after 60 might just be the most powerful part of your life, and it can absolutely be the healthiest. Now, this isn't about chasing youth. It's not about pretending to be 30 again. It's about adding years that are full of energy, clarity, and joy. Years where you're still in charge of your body, your time, your choices. And guess what? That starts with a few small habits. Nothing extreme. Nothing you can't do right in your own home, starting today. These are habits backed by science, by experience, and by real stories of people who've made their later years feel like their best yet. Let's start with the first one. And this might surprise you. It's walking. But not just getting steps in, it's about how you walk. Many people over 60 slow their walking pace without realizing it. That slower gait becomes the new normal. But studies have shown that walking just a little faster, even for 5 minutes a day, can significantly reduce your risk of heart problems, stroke, and even dementia. Think about that. Not running, not hiking up mountains, just walking briskly, with purpose, around the block, down your hallway, at the grocery store. When you walk like you have somewhere to be, you send a message to your body, we're not done yet, and your body listens. I knew a man named Robert, 77, retired, living alone. He started his mornings by walking up and down the length of his apartment building hallway. That's it. 5 minutes, sometimes 10. Neighbors thought he was just restless, but I watched him change over a few months. He stood taller. He laughed more. He started cooking again, then dancing a little while he did it. It started with walking, and it gave him back his rhythm. Now, habit number 2 is one we all overlook: hydration. I know, water doesn't sound exciting. But after 60, your body stops sending strong thirst signals. That means many older adults are low-level dehydrated all the time and don't even realize it. The result? Fatigue, dizziness, confusion, even increased risk of falls. But here's the thing. If you start your day with a glass of water, you give your brain and muscles the fuel they need. Keep a water bottle nearby. Sip throughout the day, not just when you're parched. Add a slice of lemon or cucumber if plain water doesn't appeal. Hydration isn't a chore. It's the easiest energy boost you'll ever give yourself. I remember talking to a woman named Elaine, 72. She told me she felt tired all the time and thought it was just part of aging. But once she started tracking her water intake, just 2 extra glasses a day, she noticed something within a week. Clearer thoughts, better balance, fewer headaches. It wasn't magic, it was hydration. Let's move to habit number 3, and this one's close to my heart: connection. Loneliness is a quiet thief. It steals joy. It creeps in unnoticed and makes everything feel just a little heavier. But connection, real, meaningful connection, is one of the strongest predictors of long life. That doesn't mean you need a crowd or constant company. Sometimes it means checking in with one trusted friend, talking to your neighbor, volunteering once a week, joining a local walking group or book club, even virtually. A study out of Harvard followed people for decades and found that good relationships kept people healthier and happier. Not money, not fame, not perfect health, just connection. There's an older gentleman I admire who makes it a point to call one person every single day. Just one. Sometimes it's his niece, sometimes a friend he hasn't spoken to in months. He says it keeps his mind sharp and his heart soft. And you can tell when you talk to him, he's not just living longer, he's living better. So think about this. Who haven't you talked to in a while? Who lights you up when you speak to them? Reach out today. It might be just what your body and soul need. As we ease into this, I want you to realize something. You already have what it takes. These aren't complicated steps. You don't need fancy equipment, expensive supplements, or 5 a.m. boot camps. You need consistency, intention, a bit of faith in yourself. Because what we're building here isn't just a longer life, it's a stronger one where you still make your coffee the way you like it, one where you laugh at your own jokes, walk into a room and forget why you came, but laugh anyway, one where you wake up and say, yes, today's still mine. And that's worth everything. Now that you're thinking about walking with purpose, drinking water like your life depends on it, and maybe even reaching out to someone today, let's keep going. Because these next few habits might surprise you. Not because they're difficult, but because they're so often dismissed as unimportant. But they matter. A lot. Let's talk about sleep. Not just how long you sleep, but how well. After 60, a lot of people start waking up in the middle of the night. Maybe it's to use the bathroom. Maybe it's your mind racing. Maybe it's aches and pains. Whatever the reason, your sleep begins to suffer. And here's the danger. We start telling ourselves it's normal, that it's just part of getting older. But poor sleep doesn't just make you tired. It affects your memory, your balance, your mood, even your immune system. The good news is that there are gentle ways to fix it. Start by creating a sleep wind down. An hour before bed, dim the lights. Turn off the news. No phones, no tablets, no stressful conversations. Drink something warm but decaffeinated. Chamomile tea or warm milk with a sprinkle of cinnamon. Listen to soft music or read something light. If you wake up at night, don't panic. Just lie there and breathe slowly. Avoid turning on harsh lights. Your body can be trained to rest again. You just have to show it how, patiently. One woman told me her sleep changed completely when she stopped watching TV news at night. I didn't realize how anxious it was making me, she said. I started playing quiet piano music instead. Now, I actually look forward to bedtime. You deserve deep rest. Your body needs it to repair, to think clearly, to age gracefully. Next is something so simple, but so powerful. It's the habit of gratitude. You might be thinking, what does being thankful have to do with living longer? Everything. When you make space each day to recognize what's still good, your morning coffee, the birds outside your window, the fact that your legs still carry you, it rewires your brain. Studies have shown that gratitude reduces stress hormones, lowers blood pressure, and boosts the immune system. It actually helps you live longer. And it's easy. You don't need a fancy journal. Just say one thing you're grateful for when you wake up. Or write it on a sticky note. Or tell a loved one, you know what I appreciated today? That's it. There was a man, 85 years old, who kept a gratitude jar on his kitchen counter. Every day, he'd scribble something on a little scrap of paper and drop it in. After a year, he had over 300 pieces of gratitude waiting for him. On days when he felt low, he'd reach in, pull one out, and remember something good. It kept him going through grief, through health scares, through lonely stretches. Gratitude gave him something to anchor to. Now let's talk about habit number 6, learning something new. This might be the most fun one, and it's one of the most protective. When you challenge your brain, whether it's learning to play the ukulele, taking up birdwatching, or even just figuring out how to use a new app, you're keeping your cognitive abilities sharp. You're literally building new connections in your brain, which can help prevent memory loss and delay cognitive decline. One of the most inspiring women I ever met started painting at 73. She had never picked up a brush before, but she said it gave her something to look forward to, something just for her. And by 75, she'd sold her first painting at a local art fair. Her eyes sparkled when she told me. I thought I was done learning, she said. Turns out, I was just getting started. It doesn't matter what you choose. Just choose something. Something that wakes your brain up. Something that reminds you you're still growing, still curious, still evolving. And finally, and this one might be the hardest for some people, It's about forgiveness. Not the big, dramatic, movie-style forgiveness. I'm talking about the quiet decision to stop carrying old pain. The small release of grudges, regrets, bitterness. The kind that softens your heart and frees up your energy for living, not just remembering. A study from Johns Hopkins found that people who forgive more easily tend to have lower risks of heart disease. Not because forgiveness magically cures illness, but because it reduces chronic stress, tension, and inflammation. There's a man I used to visit who'd been holding on to a family grudge for over 20 years. He finally called his sister one day just to say he was sorry they lost touch. They didn't rehash the past, they just talked. For the first time in decades. He told me afterward, I didn't know how heavy it was until I let it go. Your life, after 60, can be lighter. Not just in your body, but in your heart. You don't need to forget everything or even agree with everyone. But if you can find a way to loosen your grip on what hurt you, you create space for peace. These 7 habits we've talked about, movement, hydration, connection, sleep, gratitude, learning, and forgiveness, they're not trendy. They're not flashy. They're the real building blocks of a longer, richer life. And every one of them is in your hands. You don't have to do them all at once. You don't have to do them perfectly. You just have to start. Because adding 10 more years to your life doesn't begin with a doctor's visit. It begins with you, right here, right now, making a simple decision to take care of the only body, mind, and spirit you'll ever have. You've come this far. Let's make the rest of the journey vibrant, meaningful, and full of life. If you've made it this far with me, then you already understand something many people don't. Getting older isn't about winding down. It's about waking up to the things that truly matter. And it's never too late to begin again. That's the quiet magic of this stage of life. You get to choose how you want to live it. Let's take a moment to reflect, not by listing or recapping, but by noticing how these habits begin to weave into each other. When you walk with purpose, you start to sleep better. When you sleep better, you have more energy to learn something new. When you learn something new, you feel more connected, more engaged. And when you feel connected, gratitude comes more naturally. That gratitude makes forgiveness easier. And the more you forgive, the freer your life becomes. These aren't just habits. They're pieces of a larger truth, that the life you want, the one that feels full and clear and joyful, is made in the choices you make each day. One man shared with me that after his 65th birthday, he felt invisible. Like people stopped really seeing him. He didn't hear from his children much. The neighbors barely waved. But instead of sinking into that quiet isolation, he did something simple. He started going to the park every morning. He'd sit on the same bench, bring a thermos of tea, and just smile at people. At first, nothing happened. But then, one day, someone sat down. Then another. A young father asked him to take a picture of his family. A woman brought an extra muffin to share. Over time, he became a fixture there. Someone others looked forward to seeing. That park bench became his new front porch. His story reminds me that your presence matters more than you think. Whether you're 61 or 91, showing up with kindness, especially for yourself, is one of the most powerful things you can do. And that brings us to something important: trusting yourself. So many people over 60 begin to doubt their instincts. They start second-guessing whether they're making the right choices. Doctors, family, even strangers sometimes talk to them like they're fragile or forgetful. But let me tell you something honest and true. You know yourself better than anyone else ever could. You know what foods feel right in your body. You know which relationships give you peace and which leave you drained. You know what kind of rest recharges you. What kind of music lifts your spirit. What kind of movement makes you feel alive again. Yes, advice can be helpful. Science is powerful. But your body, your intuition, they've carried you this far. Don't stop listening now. A woman once told me she regretted ignoring her gut. She had a pain in her chest but kept brushing it off. Everyone said it was probably just acid reflux. But deep down, she knew something wasn't right. When she finally got it checked, it turned out to be early-stage heart disease. She caught it just in time. "My gut knew before anyone else did," she said. "I'll never ignore it again." So, if something feels off, whether physically or emotionally, pay attention. And if something feels right, even if others don't understand it, follow it. You've earned that wisdom. Another thing I want to say is this: don't wait to feel ready. Start small. Start imperfectly. But start. There's no perfect moment to begin walking. No ideal time to start drinking more water or calling an old friend or going to bed earlier. Life isn't waiting for us to get it all figured out. It meets us where we are and moves when we move. So if you've been thinking, "I'll start next Monday," or "maybe once the weather warms up," I want to gently challenge you. What if today was enough? What if this moment, right now, was the exact moment you were meant to begin? And let's not forget, joy matters. Living longer isn't just about avoiding illness. It's about feeling good in your skin, about laughing, about dancing in your kitchen when no one's watching, about feeding the birds, talking to your plants, sitting in the sun with your feet up. It's about saying yes to things that make your spirit feel light. Don't underestimate the power of delight. It's not childish or silly. It's medicine. And it's yours to choose. As we close, I want to leave you with something gentle, something real. You've already done so much, lived through so much. Maybe you've raised a family, built a career, cared for others, made sacrifices, endured heartbreak, and now you're here, still breathing, still learning, still becoming. That is no small thing. You are not too late. You are not too old. And you are not done. Every single one of the habits we've talked about today is a door, and behind that door is a longer, stronger, more joyful life. Not a perfect life, but a life that belongs entirely to you. So choose the door that calls to you, open it gently, and step through. Because these next 10 years, they can be yours, not just in number, but in quality, in meaning, in love, in laughter, in peace. Here's to living your best life at any age, and to proving that 60, 70, even 80 is just the beginning. If this message spoke to your heart today, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what habit you're starting with. And if you found this helpful, please like the video and subscribe for more tools to help you thrive. You deserve the kind of life that makes you excited to wake up in the morning, and you are absolutely capable of creating it. Here's to you.